as above, so not quite below yet. So I decided to make a video when I saw this this thingy here, this foundational abyss pit, where one might throw some, people in there and fill it with snakes, have an old Viking death and stuff. But one might also just plump a building down there and have some constructive fun and lunch breaks with lots of pork and what's the name, is there this meat that's called, actually maybe that's the original spam, isn't that like meat? I'm not sure. Anyway, so this thing about the soul, creating the soul. So the basic thing I would suppose to say about, to add to this, is that the soul creates itself by the human making his effort to create the soul in the world, in the physical world. This is actually the soul that the human is sort of given by whatever, however you choose to see this, tend to see this, whether it's reincarnated or whether it's just genetics and nurture. In order to, basically in order to maintain it, one would also need to expand it. Basically, also like in the same way. Well, not in the same way, but one cannot just passively exist. One also constantly needs to eat, breathe, and everything. There's no such thing as a sort of static existence. One needs to expand all the time. So, corresponding to the sort of taking nature of eating, one also needs to create like stuff. Hold on, which if you directly relate it to eating, that would be just raising crops and everything. But that's not what I mean. I mean the human. If he's, I believe, if it's a like normal sane human, he would have at least he would have a hunger to put stuff out there in the world, just good, beautiful stuff. It's the same, like the hunger to create is analogous to the hunger to eat, to feed oneself. It's just, one might say, a hunger of higher energy centers or whatever, but let's not go into that too deeply, into those mysticisms, because that would, people just might think of that very lowly, and we can't have that. So so this corresponds quite nicely to the whole dynamic idea that is self-valuing, because self-valuing is not, that's the whole point of it. It's that it's the mystery is, right, where does existence come from, right? But on the other hand, there is no nothing, so it can't come from nothing. It must come from something. But where does this somethingness come from? There must be some kind of primordial somethingness, which kind of almost defies logic. And so basically, logic needs to be modulated to satisfy this basic necessity that there must be some primordial something. And basically the only way I can conceive of this is some kind of like self-creation, which might seem illogical. It's not quite as logical as non-being. So, and also not quite as illogical as the infinite, what do you call this, recession of causes. Like, what caused the Big Bang, right? Well, maybe another Big Bang. Well, what like a big crunch and then another Big Bang. Well, that doesn't explain anything at all. So there needs to be some kind of thing from which the whole, what we conceive of as existence, as an existing entity or any kind of existence, what is rooted in. Like the Dogen, the Zen, old Japanese Zen master, he said everything is rooted in itself, and I believe that's quite accurate. I used to like do this meditation where you just look at things, both living and non-living, just concentrate on seeing yourself being rooted in itself, and it's fucking liberating. If you can see that, it's very beautiful actually. I guess that's what seeing a soul means. Like, I'm looking at a tree now, I'm seeing it rooted in itself. It's a very moving experience. In fact, you can very much see a character in kind of a struggle with that tree over there. Well, the same thing can be done for this, strangely. It's really funny. This thing's like helplessly rooted in itself. It didn't have as much to do with itself, but it's still rooted in what what it is. It's inescapably rooted in itself. But I wouldn't go so far to call this, well, self-creating. Well, it's that I would call self-creating. So that don't mean to cause confusion. I'm still very much confused about where to like make demarcate the difference between objects and like actual like self-valuings and what I would like consider to be tools or like objects, so no subjects. That one might say at this point, if I walk into it, this thing values me in its own terms rather than I value it in my terms, because it's just stronger in the terms that I interact with it. So I guess, yeah, that's why I put it down here. That's why it's created. It's because it's strong material. It's the only reason it exists. It's like we are being formed by circumstance. This thing being formed by the circumstance called man needing some strong thing, right? So yeah, that all does make neat sense in the end. Anyway, I was talking about this this need of the human being, rather than the sort of elevator shaft thingy, whatever it is, to create onwards. We're not just physical objects. We are mind driven. We're conscious driven. Our self-valuing is a conscious self-valuing, meaning, I believe, that like our awareness of our place, like consciousness transcends like immediacy. It transcends time and space. We can like think of different places. We can keep a situation in our heads. So it transcends the basic time and space dimensions. So this forces us to exist in a much broader fashion. We cannot just like be beasts. That just does not satisfy. We can like try to satisfy our consciousness by thinking very much about being beasts, but basically in the end, the only proper conquest of a man can do is by creating something that will survive him, that will something greater than himself. I think this, but on the other hand, I don't know, man. That just, yeah, I'm sort of like doubtful about this as well, because I read these statistics about suicide rates. I'm not sure how to trust them, but about how creative artists have higher suicide rates, but dentists apparently have the highest suicide rate. So, somehow very much conceivable. Not of the artist though. I find that weird, but maybe that has to do with the type of art. People like postmodernist art, maybe. I'm not sure what to think of that. Anyway, so I just wanted to make this reflection. It's not like, I guess I can't make a definitive point about it right now. Just some thoughts from Montreal. in like unfortunately no longer freezing weather. It's kind of annoying that this ice is disappearing now. I'm sure it will be back.